The edit page, the color page, the VFX with Fusion, and then Fairlight if you want to do a mixer edit.
Fired up, Alex. I'm fired up to have you here. Fired up to do this. We should have done this a long time ago, to be honest.
That's very cool. Glad to be here.
We are here with Alex Martin, CC alum from the class of 2008. He did 2 years in my class. The first year I was there and the second year I was there, he graduated. Alex went on to go to Columbia College in Los Angeles, he went in for audio, but ended up focusing on color correction. Fell in love with that part of the process and being able to manipulate the color and the look of the film. And I think that's a really cool thing. It's something I'm not very good at. But then went on first gig on Michael Bay's set, working with him on something over there. What did you do for Michael Bay on his movie?
We headed out to Miami's for Pain and Gain, and that was back in the day when they transitioned. They're still shooting film, but the red camera came out, so they started shooting a lot of digital stuff as well. So we started, you have to, you record the camera, and then someone's got to offload all that. So I was there on set, making sure that all the camera cards were taken care of, and offload that, ship it back to Los Angeles for them to start coloring.
Huge responsibility, dude. Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Did you back that up? Did you back it up?
Did you back it up? Exactly. We have like 5 backups just in case.
Heck yeah. Okay, awesome. And now he's working for a company called Picture Shop, which I think is in Burbank. Is that where it's located?
It is. Yeah, it's right there next to Warner Brothers, Disney. It's that like little circle there.
In the circle of studios there in Burbank. Yeah. That's fantastic. And his focus is on mainly coloring, color correction, color coding, these types of things, making things look right for the environment in a film professionally. So I'm excited to have you here, Alex. And what you're going to do today is go over DaVinci Resolve as a software, the platform, and what you do with color in the very basics of that platform. First things first, tell us how DaVinci, have you always used DaVinci? Was that your
Yeah, you know what? Apple Color was the first one. So that was like the first, you could build a suite out of your, out of your garage, if you will, that was digital. So back in the day, they had DaVinci 2K, which is like, it's the spirit where you throw up the film, and there's actually a film scanner right there live. So you're actually, when you hit play, fast forward and stop, it's like, imagine a big, cassette tape, but it's just film on either side. So we'd throw up the film, and then it has a big scanner on it, recording in 2K. So it was a big operation. It was like $1 million worth of gear, all air conditioned, all the fancy gizmos and toys and things. And then DaVinci Resolve got bought out by Blackmagic. And so when they transitioned to Blackmagic, they opened up. And so I've been on it since Resolve 8. We're on version 16 now. 17 was just released as a beta. So each year they're dropping something new, and you got to stay up with the times because the technology is constantly changing. So it's been pretty cool because, college students can now, and high school students now, you can really dive in. They offer DaVinci Resolve for free. They give you a bunch of free courses now. It's insane. Okay. So hook you up.
But there's a purchase price for it. What's the difference between the free and the purchase price?
So they've dropped it significantly. You can even buy so right now, free gives you almost every aspect of the software, minus like noise reduction and, crazy resolution sizes, things that you would do more like on a DI side, DI being like, if you're going to do a movie in a movie theater, then you kind of need the pro version, but it's $0 to $300. You buy $300 one time, and you own it for life. It's insane.
And you're swearing by this product, right? You're like, this is your thing. I mean, Alex is not an affiliate marketer or nothing, not trying to get paid for it. But this is your product. This is what you love to use. This is what you do on a daily.
I've teamed up with, because of our facility size, we have 16 Linux Resolves. The other two kind of color correctors that are out there that are popular are Nakota and Baselight. Baselight being the Ferrari of the color correctors. DaVinci Resolve is a very quick, fast box. It's very user-friendly, so a lot of people adapt to it pretty quickly. So we have 16 Resolve platforms inside the facility. We have 2 full base lights and then 4 Nakotas. So if you're more on the European side, like if you go over to London and whatnot, they're pretty heavy on Baselight and Nakota. US is pretty primarily Resolves.
Resolve, okay. So there's lots of platforms out there for color correcting, color coding.
Oh, yeah.
But Resolve is probably sort of cornering the market for independent stuff.
They're chasing it big time because they offer now, right? So like you have, in Adobe, you have Adobe Premiere, you have After Effects, and then there's that whole suite, right? And that's basically they've changed DaVinci Resolve to be. Before it was strictly color correction only. Now they've opened it up to have an edit, and they kind of chase, a lot of the features that you have inside of Premiere. They have a cuts page now, which is brand new. I don't know how to use it. It's for just like if you need to get in quick and get out. They have the color page. They now have Fusion. So if you're heavy into VFX.
Fusion, that's not part of DaVinci though. That's a different.
It is, yeah. Oh, and Fairlight. And they have Fairlight now. They bought Fairlight too. So you have the edit page, the color page, the VFX with Fusion, and then Fairlight if you want to do a mixer. And they sell all this stuff now too. So if you hop on their website, blackmagicdesign.com, man, they offer a lot. So it's action-packed.
It sounds like it's becoming a one-stop shop. I mean, whereas in Adobe, you can use After Effects and open one of those project files right up in Premiere.
Sure.
Same thing with Photoshop. And they're doing all that together in the Blackmagic suite now.
Exactly. They had them separated as like different entities. You'd have to open up Fusion and so on and send the files around. And now they've just combined it. Each software version that comes out, they, kind of make it all a one-stop shop.
Alex is going to share his screen. He's going to dive into some of this stuff. So why don't you go ahead and do that? Pop your screen open.
It'll first launch. I have a little bit of a different view just because of, how I have my database set up. But this would be the front page. So as it starts up, I'm just going to jump into a project that I already have pre-built. I'm just going to do
this is where you either create a new project or open up an old one.
Exactly. So same spot. We're going to jump off from the same everything. So I've reset the GUI UI so that it matches, exactly how you guys would see it. So it's more in thumbnail view, which is like you can see all little thumbnails and everything here. So over here on the left is just the hard drives, the media pool being the media pool. If you wanted to navigate to the footage, I'm just going to do a shortcut here real quick just to sorry, I'm going to change it. I always work in list views. So
do I. I work in list views. It's quicker to find things, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to keep transitioning stuff over. So on my storage volume here, it's a SAN, so, I can share it across multiple computers if I need to.
Okay, so just really quickly, take us through the layout of this user interface. On the very left side, I mean, like we've never opened it before, because literally, Alex, never opened it before. So
brand new. You see it for the first time. All right, cool.
Yeah, the left side there where you're at, that browser, that's your media browser. You can access everything that's on your computer, all your assets.
Exactly. This is all the hard drives connected. If you don't have anything external, it would be your Macintosh HD. That's pretty much what everyone's used to seeing. User, there's my user, same desktop.
Okay. And that just sort of toggles it down in the right where you're at right now. That toggles it down.
Yep.
So that whole top window there is as it says up on top, your media storage.
It's exactly like if you were using a Finder window, right? So same jam. If I was to go, to the Macintosh, I'm going to just go to my hard drive. So projects here, there's my external. Basically the same thing that, and it shows you everything same, right? So on my projects, there's all the projects there.
Got it.
Yeah.
And the window to the right that actually has the visual on it, is that your canvas? That's your master?
So yeah, that way you can just kind of get a quick view without actually loading up any. Sorry, go ahead.
So that's your viewer. What we're seeing there with the truck pulling into that road, that's a viewer, not your canvas. Yeah,
just a viewer. So I can quickly see, what the footage is.
That's your preview window.
It's a preview window.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah, that way then I'm looking at it, I'm checking out like what my resolution size is. So it's 3840 by 2160, so full UHD.
Which is 4K, right? So
bit depth of 12, so pretty strong. It's got lots of colors in there.
Okay.
23976, your standard everyday 2398, with 2 audio channels. And like as I scrub through it, you'll see those audio meters bounce over here on the side.
I see. Okay.
So you just kind of want to get familiar with your footage, so that way you know how to construct and build the project.
Okay.
The next thing you would want to do is create a bin. We'll just make this a little bit organized. So if I call this my source material.
So interesting, because you've got your media storage up on the top there, and then you've got a separate window for the bins that you're creating within Resolve, within that project you're going to do.
Yeah, imagine that this one is just you looking through your hard drive.
Yeah.
And then this is where you're like, oh, I'm going to collect all my media down here.
That's actually your project, stuff you pull in from your hard drive.
Exactly. Yep. So now I'm saying like add this into my project. So I'm going to add into the media pool. So there's my source.
There we go. Okay.
In color correction, so there's always an offline. And the offline is just your cut directly rendered right out of Premiere. So exactly how the offline editor has been seeing it. So anything that's considered creative cutting is considered an offline editor. Anybody that's reassembling, you know, and relinking to the high-res media is considered an online editor. So everything coming from offline editorial, it'll just be called offline.
Okay.
So with the offline, so he sent me over an offline reference, and so you can see this is how he's been seeing it. He has, you know, he put, you know, gentle color correction on there. This way, like the editor will cut it, and then, you know, the director, or they want to send it out to the producers and whatnot to review the file. It doesn't just look log. And on the difference between log and linear type footage, let's add that in. Sorry, let me add this as a reference. So you add this as an offline reference. So this being log, which is what the camera sensor recorded. So it's not limited to any colors. It does. What you're looking at here is there's two mixtures of cameras. We have DJI drone footage and Arri Alexa Mini. So you always want to record in a log format, so that way if you overexpose it or underexposed it when recording in log, you know, you have all that ability to bring that back. If you record it in what we call Rec 709, what this looks like here. If he says, hey, you know, if the client's like, yo, I can't see into the bed of the truck more, at that point it's kind of clipped. I don't have the information anymore to open that back up and see into it.
So log footage is collecting a lot more resolution, yes. Larger files.
It's collecting. It's as though it's grabbing everything that it can possibly capture. You know, it's filling the full sensor. It's not limiting to anything.
So do you have the knowledge of what makes it so flat when it is shot that in log? What causes the log to be flat looking? What takes the color out of it?
So this camera, so if we're talking the Alexa camera, it's a very popular studio camera. It records in log C. And log C is such a huge color space. And your monitors, like your TVs at home, your iPhone, you know, your iPads, what have you, those monitors are considered Rec 709. So it's a Rec 709 color space is what you're used to seeing. And then the camera records in log C. So it's just two different ways of viewing it. Imagine it's like you're putting on a different pair of glasses. So you put on the glasses of, I want to be able to see this correctly displayed on this display being a Rec 709 monitor. That's what this is here. Right now you're talking and you're looking at more like a computer language where it's just a bunch of data and you're going to try and channel that to be viewed correctly on the monitor that you're looking at it at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
Okay, cool.
It's giving you much more control over the latitude of the color itself.
Yep.
So,
yep.
And that's what that is, high dynamic range, isn't it?
It is. So like your TV's at home. So if you go to a movie theater, right, you're looking at things in P3. Now there's this thing called Dolby Vision. We master everything in Dolby Vision these days. So if you have a Dolby Vision TV at home, which you'll buy from Costco or anything else, pretty much every TV sold this day and age is Dolby Vision. And what that does is that's even a more advanced color space, has billions more colors. It has a lot more tonal range as far as being able to see into the shadows and seeing into the highlights. And so everyone's always been used to seeing things in Rec 709. I'm working on iMac Pro. This is now P3, so it goes in steps. It goes Rec 709, everyday TV that you've seen for, you know, the dawn of time. The new things now, like iPad Pros and things, those are P3 color spaces, much wider, which you would see inside of a movie theater. And then the new thing is Rec 2020, which is a huge color space. And that's what everybody's working inside of. So we do that a lot for Dolby Vision, which is the latest and greatest. Everything we deliver is Dolby Vision. That's what the whole
I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So continue, please. You're dropping some files into your project.
Right. So the next thing after this to do is take note of one thing is that this is an Apple ProRes 4444.
Okay.
What that is it's a codec, video codec. That allows multiple compression, holds lots of data in there. So it's a good codec to record on. Like if you were to shoot on the Alexa, log C, there's an option to choose Apple ProRes 444. It's a very friendly codec. It plays well on computers. And it's a good source to use. So it's the highest codec flavor that you can use in a compressed format. So what you want to do from there is check out your settings, your project settings. So my master settings, I want to match these things up. So the resolution size is 3840 by 2160. So I'm going to set my timeline resolution to be that. It'll automatically default these. Video monitoring is if you're going out to external monitor. You can't see mine here. I'm going out to a 55-inch display here, which has been calibrated and everything else.
Okay.
And then you want to just kind of set up some of these other parameters. A lot of the stuff you can leave as default.
One of the major differences between between DaVinci and Premiere, when you drop something into a sequence, it sets the sequence settings for you.
Correct. And you know what? This will, let me do this. Let me close this real quick so you can see.
But you just like to have control over that? Is that what that is?
You do. Yeah, you really want to set it up. So we'll just jump into Untitled Project. And so right now, it just has the default settings. So this is everything, totally default. As I take this source material and I say add into media pool, you'll get that same prompt.
I see. So
it says the clips have a different frame rate than the current project, and you want to say change.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point then in time, it went in through and it changed it 1920 by 1080, which is totally fine. 2398, it adjusted all that for you. All these default settings are totally fine. Right now, like my stills and everything are going to go to my, movie folder on my desktop. And that's pretty much it. I mean, if you wanted to jump right in from there, there's no problem with this setup right here.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. What are you doing?
So from here now, out of Premiere, you would want you can chop this file up by hand. Let me show you what that looks like, because you'll do it. Everybody has to do it at some point in time. So timeline, you can label this whatever you want. We're just going to leave everything default. So nothing fancy. So this now being the edit page, down here at the bottom, you see this tab. So it goes media. When you first launch Resolve on the new version, it's going to default to this cut page. It's brand new. I don't know how to use it. I don't know very many people who do use it.
It looks like iMovie.
It basically, I think that's what it is. I think it's just a simplified version of the edit page.
Okay.
So if you're comfortable there, rock and roll, you know what I mean? But I'm so familiar with the edit page, so I jump from media to edit. From here, same again, it's in thumbnail view. I'll switch that over to just list view.
See, this looks more like the traditional editing.
Yeah, exactly. And what's cool about this is that they know people, they're obviously trying to steal the market. So they want people from Premiere to transition into Resolve. So if you're like, no, I know the hotkeys backwards and forwards inside of Premiere, what's best to do is you can just go up here to your preferences. Not those preferences. You want to go here to the keyboard customization, and they have a drop-down menu. I have some custom stuff in here, but you can choose Adobe Premiere Pro, and it'll map all the key and shortcuts for you.
They're all doing that now, aren't they? Because remember when I switched over to Adobe, you could set the keyboard functions to match Final Cut Pro.
That's right.
So they're doing that just to, I don't know, it's a smart move.
Very smart. Good market. So
okay, so I didn't recognize before we were talking about. I'm moving this over. I knew what you were talking about, but it didn't look like an editing software to me. It looked like a preview software to me, but this looks like an editing software.
Exactly. So this is just really a different way of sorting your media. That's all. Okay. It's just a bin to collect.
And that makes sense. If you go through the bottom functions that you have, the media, the cut, edit, fusion, color.
Yeah.
That I think is a big deal with understanding the workflow in DaVinci, because you set up, like you say, you bring in all your stuff first, and then you have it within your project. So if you wanted to bring in new stuff, you'd have to come back from edit to media.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what? On a Mac, they'll allow you to drag and drop stuff in here. So let's see. So if I go over to like source material,
okay,
where's the source reference, right? I can just take it and just drag and drop it right in.
I see.
Also go that direction.
And it'll update within media, and it'll update within edit.
Exactly. So whatever I see here in my media pool, if I jump over to the edit page, same jam, right? So I got media pool tab up here as well, and I can see everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So are the basics of the editing software the same here? Meaning, like, you can insert, overwrite edits.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, for instance, right, this is just like my viewer window, whatever. Let's say that, like, I'm just using the JKL keys, right, to find the endpoint there.
That would be reverse, stop, fast forward, these types of things.
Exactly. So I just hit I to do an endpoint, right? We're just going to fly through this shot real quick, find the out there, mark that out with O. So I and O in, O for out. And then you can, you know, pull it down if you want to pull it down that way. If you want to, over here on the right-hand side, am I able to move this screen? Oh, I am. Cool. You can go over here and you can do, you know, your different types of, you know, place on top. It's going to place on top based off of the playhead. So if I put my playhead over here, you know, you can do place on top that way.
I see. Okay. Right. Is there a quick button right down there in the bottom bar of the preview window that does insert and overwrites?
I'm sure there's a hotkey for it. I'm not the most, like our online editors know all, dude, it's super advanced. You can customize. And what it is actually, if you're looking for these things, you can go into this, right?
I see.
And you can jump into edit, and then you'll start showing you all the hotkeys and
all
things.
The quick keys for it. I see.
Right?
Yeah.
You just look it up real quick, and you're like, overwrite.
I love that. Okay, so you've got inserts, you got overwrites, you've got let's see, there's some of the things that we normally do.
Snapping, linking, you know, if you want to unlink the audio, right? So you click that. Now I can click this, it'll leave my audio alone.
Those are big deal. Okay. So,
you know, snapping. So Control B will cut. I think that's the same keystroke as it is in maybe it's Control B or something, but you know, we got snapping.
In Premiere, it's essentially you hit the B key. That's your quick tool in order to use the razor blade tool as the cursor.
Exactly, that's right here too. And I think if you hover, there you go. You even hover the mouse over, and it'll give you that option. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to see different people using the same software. They're all going to do it differently.
I know.
Like we'll use the same software. Like some people will hit that Command B. Some people will use the B key.
Yep.
And trigger that. Some people will just freaking insert and slide something over. You know, it's like
totally.
There's no one way, and I think that's what I have to tell my students. Like they get so uptight about getting in, they don't want to do something wrong. It's like, look, as long as it ends up looking the way you want it to look and sounding the way you want it to sound, then you did it right. Now, could you quicken your process a little bit? Sure, maybe. I just like to try to learn a little bit every time I run a project. I like to learn a little bit more about the software.
Absolutely. I think I find, you know, at first it's you got to learn all the buttons. So that's totally fine. If you need to hover your mouse over the top of this and learn, oh, that's B. Now moving forward, I know if I hit the B key, it's going to turn my cursor into the blade tool, right? So now it's a blade tool, I can chop. But
it'll cut per frame, like, and it'll probably snap to the playhead too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So A would take me back into, you know, my transition of just right. If you hit B, you can see it even highlighted.
Back to your selection tool.
Back to the selection tool.
There you go.
You know, I try to, you know, when you're first starting off, you know, learn the shortcuts as best as possible. You're right. You want to kind of be a piano player. You want to use both hands. So if you can, you'll just speed up your process that way. You have the same basic edit tools. If I park my playhead here, I can hit E to extend. It'll snap it out. It's a lot of the same features and functions.
That's really cool though. I actually don't use that. Looks like it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like ripple deletes and stuff like that. You can
if you want to
clicking that open space and delete kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. As far as adjusting that audio down there, I know with Adobe you want to extend, widen up the track, and that gives you that audio bar that you can pull up or down. Does that do the same thing?
Yeah, you know what? I think that's here, and you have these options to really dive in there. So that was just this little button here. You click that guy. This gives you kind of like all your different, you know, the ways to view things. The video track, collapse it down, so on.
But I will point out, Alex, that you forgot the number one rule when I teach film. The first thing you do when you open a project is save that project.
So here's how I roll.
Down, Alex. I'm sorry to tell you. I don't know what to do.
You got me.
I don't know what to do about you, man. You're such a rebel.
You are absolutely. The first thing we always get going is we go in, we'll pull all the media into the media pool. We hop over to our settings. We do more of a manual type setup. And then of course you want to save it and label.
You save it. And you save it where you want to save it, not just save it where by default. You save it where you want to save it. And just like Adobe, where I teach people is wherever your media is, your assets are, on one external hard drive, you drop your save in that same space as well. Maybe create a subfolder of project files or whatever, so that you can get moving really quickly from one device to the next. You can be mobile really fast to have everything in one external hard drive.
Absolutely.
With everything in one location, export, save it, export, bam, plug it into another device, and you're up and running. It sounds like DaVinci will do the same thing for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me, I have a template, for every project that I start up. And inside there, I have like my color review. I build out a folder structure ahead of time for myself.
Perfect. Yeah.
Lots of editors ahead of time. They have something way more advanced. I just, this suits me. On our same volumes at work, I mean, we don't move around without a huge folder structure ahead of time to keep it all clean and organized.
Yeah, and that makes it really easy to back up too, doesn't it? You drag and drop that one master folder and leave it for a couple, and you're good.
That's it. Yeah, if I need to move my whole project, I just take this, right? So it's got everything. So
bam, there it is.
I have my cache path set there. It's all on the external. I have all my render files going here. My Resolve project, I back it up here. It always gets saved here. And then all my source material, my EDL to chop it up with, the log version, and the reference.
Now, do you keep your auto save files in the same location?
I guess there's two different theories to it. It's like, what happens if my external drive crashed, right? Like if you don't have a backup of it, you would kind of want that, saved there on a separate drive to kind of break that up. I always best practice, I kept them on my same hard drive where everything was at, just because, if I was traveling for school, like if I'm in college, I'll have stuff on my laptop, I'm editing at home, and then in class, they're like, yo, you got to present your projects. So then I hook up my external drive, I can launch everything, and I have everything right then and there. So I guess it's just two ways of how you want to organize it. And from here, I can sway the colors however I want. I can take the grass and start making it way more green.
Look at that. Whoa.
Right?
That's fantastic.
So you can be like, nice and lush outside. If they're like, no, we want it to look, dead and burnt outside or what have you. So you can really start to manipulate the image.
Yeah, that's massive, dude. That's a
right?
That's a
pretty cool.
Thing.